Come on. Behavior management in a drama class, I think, is slightly different to your behavior management in a standard classroom, in that you need to embrace the chaos. You've got to accept that there is going to be a lot of noise, and a lot of it is out of your hands, it's out of your control. What is important is that all that noise is being focused towards developing work. So as long as there's work being generated, as long as they are developing and working on a piece of drama or whatever their task is, then I find most levels of noise completely acceptable. This is set in Uganda, in Africa, and some people can do a very good African accent. Any lesson, or especially a drama lesson, which is a practical lesson, needs a very rigid structure. Well, more of a routine than a structure, which means that they come in and they know what to do and what's expected of them. With my lessons, it's always come in, bags down. They'll then sit down in a circle, as they always do, and they will be given a text, whether it's a photograph, a mask, a piece of music, a play script, a poem, and we'll look at the text and get our initial responses to the text. Let's just kind of look for opportunities for performing. We'll then probably use one of our strategies, still image, forum theatre, miming, just to kind of explore that text, kind of get an idea of character and start thinking about different motivations and how we can use this text in a piece of drama. What do you see in that face, in those eyes?
Sorrow.
You see sorrow. They then get into groups. I would probably assign them groups. Very occasionally, they'll be able to choose their own groups, but those are always the less successful lessons because they want to go with their friends. They will then rehearse, develop their pieces. They will then perform them. I do like to perform every single lesson. I think it's important in a drama lesson that that's a performance subject, that there's always a sense of showing and an audience appreciating, and after performing we'll evaluate. So it's a very standard lesson. It's text, response, develop, perform, evaluate. And once they've got used to that routine, very seldomly do we have a problem because they know exactly what to expect.
He's not your father. He's the only father we know. Don't insult him. Mother would be ashamed.
The last lesson we started working on the loss of childhood, based on a play script 2 of my Year 11 students wrote a few years ago. It's a very tough play. It's a 5-character play, and it looks at how the LRA, the Lord's Resistance Army in Uganda, led by Joseph Kony, is stealing away childhood from children by kidnapping them and making them as part of his army. I know it's a script, but it's not fixed in stone. I mean, make changes as much as you want, but let's try and get a flavour for the characters, yeah? It is a tough script, and there are a lot of difficult emotions. I mean, emotions that these kids haven't ever felt, hopefully, and so they need to find some way of accessing them.
Stop wasting my time. Beautiful, beautiful girl. Beautiful. My wife.
I'm begging you, please.
I want you to.
Please.
But I do find the challenging, controversial, little bit risky texts are the ones that generate the best lessons. That's when there is a slight sense of danger, and I think that's what invigorates them. It makes them feel not necessarily adult, but it's almost like they're learning through their drama. They're experiencing things that they couldn't experience or wouldn't want to experience, but it's a chance for them to role play it in a safe environment, and they can empathize. You've got to make your audience feel quite uncomfortable, because it's a very uncomfortable moment. The only way you're going to do that is if you commit to that 100%. The lessons where you have your behavior management problems are the lessons where it's quite safe, it's quite boring, we're all playing school kids, there's the shopkeeper, and this is all very dull. Then you have people trying to make more of it and getting quite silly. Jarrell, who are you? Who are you? Mama Confesses is a very difficult scene. Over the years, I've really got to know these kids, and I think once they've got to know you and they know how you work, and you got to know them and you know how they work, you really come to an understanding. And it's not always a verbal understanding, but I think it's definitely a very clear understanding. The important thing, I think, is to treat all those relationships not as a single, but as individuals. So some of the kids, they will get away with a lot more. I've got the head boy and the head girl in this class, and they get away with very little. Should we change over, guys? This is quite serious. No, sorry. Sure? Others who are known around the school to be behavior problems, I don't have a major issue with them in drama because I think they enjoy the subject, but you can't keep them on such a tight leash, because then you're just going to have confrontations every lesson. So a lot of it is tactically ignored. I think if that's not going to seriously impact the rest of the class, it's annoying me. Maybe it's annoying, some people, but it's not having a major effect on the class. That's not worth the confrontation. It's like a very fluid, ongoing relationship. But that's the relationship that you have with the pupils that keeps them in control. It's not the shouting or the school's behavior policy. It's not the detentions. It's not the threatening. It's just that kind of relationship you build with your students. That's what keeps them in line.
We can't just do it.
Okay.
The low-level disruption during the performance is a tricky issue for me. You know, either you're going to ignore it, or you're going to try and deal with it while the performance goes on, but then you kind of, you know, you should be watching that too as a teacher. I mean, I want to see the work they're doing. I don't want to be dealing with pupils, or you're going to stop that performance and now we're going to deal with this low-level disruption issue. So it's a judgment call. The kids, they need to have a very clear boundary, and they will always tiptoe right to that very edge. You look at them, they know, okay, I'm right here at the edge. Take another step and, you know, we're going to have to deal with it. And sometimes they do, so we stop it. We've got a behaviour management policy in the school. You've got the hotspot rota. We'll go and get a senior member of staff if you have to come outside. But you know, sometimes you have to do that. It's quite a long boundary, I think, in a drama class. I mean, you can't be rigid in a drama class. You're always going to have the noise. You've got to give them a fair amount of space. But it's very clear. And once they've stepped over that boundary, that's it. Could you please put your gum in the bin and stop chewing the gum, Mark? It just ruins your character, you know.
Have anything to do with God. We've been stolen away from our home, taken to hell.
The prop room at the back is kind of open door for the kids. It's not that well stocked, it's not brilliantly funded, and they all kind of know what they're going to find in it. The walking stick is a big favorite. Very often it is a walking stick, but a lot of the time it turns into a gun. So the walking sticks and the machetes and the cardboard weapons, they do often come out. If I see there's any kind of nonsense, you'd probably want to you just nip that in the bud straight away, but I've never seen anyone kind of use the walking stick in any way except as a drama prop.
It's her or you. Good boy, good boy.
Did anybody see a script?
If it's been very, very practical, if they've really enjoyed the work and they've all kind of felt they've contributed and created something, they are really energized and they come kind of bouncing into the classroom. Unfortunately, there's not much you can do about that for the next teacher. You can do a warm down session, but in a single lesson you really are pressed for time, and I think what's more important is everyone gets a chance to perform the work that they've been working on. There's a real buzz about that.
You don't know me. You don't know yourself. I am Joseph Suits Elijah Conley.